strategic move that Eddie is making for AJ. Why are you not thinking, let's get him set up for
kind of animal?
If that was years and years and years ago. Like, Clarissa is a way different fighter from when she was back in the
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on our
defenses that she's had to have recently. You know, she's pulled people.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the RoundTable about tribalism. I don't think tribalism is necessarily bad. I just don't think it has to be.
I don't know what he think he sees or what he think he know. But he going to the hospital, bro. Like, bro, you not winning that fight.
You guys mentioned, I think, D-Style, you mentioned him versus Regis program. I'd love, that sounds like a...
Old, I don't need you, you know, and PBC and others, in my opinion, it's like, oh, this is my guy. Like, there's a relationship.
Flat out, it's tough, and we call box, and we go to the end of the round, and then...
That would say, what do you mean by acting black? That's a fair question, but a participant of trash talk knows.
And they're announcing a fight 3-4 months from now. And he ain't going to fight. I bet you anything. He's not going to fight somebody as good as John Wayne. What's going on, everybody? D-Style here, being joined by Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter. And, of course, from the Spit Bucket, Solomon. How's it going, brother? How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, D-Style. Appreciate you having me, man. Good seeing you, gentlemen. It's my first time, so you guys take it easy with me.
Absolutely. We should have In the Ring with Christine join us shortly. Your partner in crime will join us shortly as well. And Mario Munguia should be joining us shortly as well. I'm not sure about Calix, but if he comes in, he comes in. If he doesn't, he doesn't, right? So, look, let's go ahead and get this one started. I want to talk about what happened this past weekend. Anthony Joshua fought Franklin. He looked how he looked. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I have my opinions about it. After watching that fight, there's always effects that happen after a fight, right? Our vision is better. We have more 20/20 vision. Perspective changes, right? Beep, I want to start with you. Has the scenery at heavyweight changed for you after this fight? Your expectations of Joshua, have they changed? Has the win over Usyk, like the way you originally thought of it, changed? What has changed for you?
Well, I've had my suspicions about Joshua for a while. And, you know, you hear this new Joshua, old Joshua. He's going to get it back. He's going to get better. And they say all these things about him, but I only see one Joshua. And this is the Joshua that's always been. And this is the Joshua that was always going to be. But there just had to be certain situations that really showed us who he was. I think Vladimir Klitschko showed us a little bit of who he was, and Andrew Ruiz kind of pulled back the curtain completely, and we found out who Joshua really was. There was always going to be that situation that was going to arise, whether it was during Klitschko or Ruiz, it was always going to happen. Certain fighters, they get put in these situations, and they either come back from them to react in a positive way, or not all fighters can. And it's funny, too, because we're talking about a guy who was thought to be the best heavyweight, you know, in the division at one point, or at least top 2 or 3. Right. Now, some people even say he's still in the top 5. That's a fair point. And it's kind of crazy that we're talking about a top 5 heavyweight like this. But the thing is when you're in that top 5, we're comparing you to the other 4. We're not comparing you to the guys below you, right? So when we compare him to the other 4, I went back and watched that Wilder Fury 3 fight, and I saw both guys get hurt in that fight. And people say Wilder took a beat in that fight, which he most certainly did. But Fury had to take his licks too. But I just kind of look back to that fight, and Wilder was still throwing punches with bad intentions. As hurt as he was still landing a decent shot here and there later in that fight. So that's just having that warrior killer instinct, you know, and a lot of fighters have it. And you would think all fighters would have it to do this, but I guess if you measure it, everyone's got more than others, right? And Wilder and Fury definitely have it, right? Usyk has it too, because Usyk was hurt by Joshua a few times, and he poured it on late in that fight and took it away from Joshua. So Joshua's a very good fighter. but I just don't think he can beat guys like Wilder, Fury, Joyce. And I think when you go further down the list, like Dillian White, Daniel Dubois, some of those guys, I think he's 50-50. So yeah, I just think this is what we have. And I think moving forward, everyone has kind of finally discovered that. But there are still some people who are out there hoping that Joshua can be something that I don't think he is. But, you got to keep this into context. I mean, Jermaine Franklin's not even a top 30 fighter. He just started fighting 12 rounders. Like, this was his second 12-round fight. The fight before Dillian White, he was fighting an 8-rounder, right? And this is no disrespect to Jermaine Franklin. I mean, he got 2 good paydays in a row. Good for him. But we have to keep this in context. Anthony Joshua entered that fight, and he had a look on his face like something wasn't right. We talked about this. He was throwing the right hand, and before that right hand was even being launched, he was thinking about how fast am I going to get this back to my face. He didn't want to punch through his target. He just wanted to get the right hand off and pull it back, almost like touching the hot stove. And
he was going fishing.
For sure. You can't do that. You can't do that against top-level guys. So.
Now, really quick, because 92 AK, you say, who's they? I mean, there's plenty of guys. Like, just last week, we had Ring IQ saying he would favor AJ over Wilder, right?
You want me to go down the list?
Yeah, but
way to go down the list. I mean,
but
I don't want to name drop.
What do you want us to call you, brother? By the way.
Yeah, man, he'll call me JJ.
JJ, okay, all right, JJ. Talk to us, man. What you make of the performance? Does it change your perspective?
For sure, man. Again, thanks for having me on here, dude. And they're my partner Correa. But yeah, I wanna hit on the Anthony Joshua deal, man. It's a huge conversation. I think Joe, you nailed it, dude. It was really interesting what you said about we saw what Anthony Joshua was with Klitschko, but we also saw what Anthony Joshua was with Usyk. I think the thing is, Anthony Joshua didn't know. All he'd ever known was, man, I'm the best. I'm the best. I went to the edge of my limits with Klitschko, but that knockout with Ruiz began the identity issues. I think Anthony Joshua's biggest problem in the world, because there's talent everywhere. The guy has talent. It's undeniable. He has a skill set. What has happened? In my opinion, it's the mental thing. It's the classic identity issue. It's an identity crisis. That's why he's going from camp to camp, looking for different trainers. I think we've seen the best of Joshua. I was one of those guys 5 years ago that said Joshua has everything and he's going to be the top guy. But man, I think after Saturday we saw more identity issues. We saw him not knowing who he was, and it was a lackluster performance. Yes, it was a clear decision, but I just don't see him having that grit that could compete with the Joe Joyces of the world, the guys that are hungry to make a name and to land the giant paychecks.
For sure. JJ, when he told me he was running late, I said, "Oh, there he is on that bullshit again." You know what I mean? Hey, Sir TV, how you doing, brother? How you doing?
Man, what's popping, man? Shout out to D-Style. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to my dog, my brother from another, my partner in crime, JJ Solomon. What's good?
Hey, man, I'm chilling. The question is, after Anthony Joshua's performance against Franklin, what did you think of it, and does it change your perspective about Joshua at heavyweight at this point?
I may be different from everybody else because me looking at Anthony Joshua fight that night, I was very impressed, right? Like, the thing is, if you're a real boxing fan, you know who Jermaine Franklin is. And what pisses me off about boxing fans is just because they don't know the guy, they quick to assume the guy was a nobody. Jermaine Franklin was a top contender in the heavyweight division who has real skills. Now, getting to Anthony Joshua, I was very impressed. You see his jab. Anybody know the first thing a coach is going to tell you in boxing is to use your jab, because we know using your jab, that sets up everything else of your arsenal that you're trying to use to attack. And Anthony Joshua showed me excellent jab that night. Matter of fact, he showed me excellent ring generalship. People talk about the first round, the start of the fight. You tell me every fighter gonna get in the ring and start off hot. It takes fighters some rounds. Let's talk about one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. Some people say he's the top pound for pound fighter in the world. Terrence Crawford. Do Terrence Crawford always start off fast? No. He starts off slow because he has to figure out his opponent, and then he dominates him, and 9 times out of 10, he knocks him out. That's why he is who he is. Anthony Joshua showed me much grit. Like, I guess my eyes just seen something else. I seen a guy who was willing to fight on the inside. I seen a guy after the 3rd or 4th round got meaner and meaner as the fight went on. People talk about, Anthony Joshua was holding. He's a heavyweight. What do you think he posed? What do you think he posed to do? He posed to lean on his opponent. That's the advantage of being a heavyweight, because when you're a big heavyweight like that, you can lean on your opponent and you can make them at a disadvantage where they get tired in the latter rounds, and that's what we've seen with Jermaine Franklin. Now, people talking about Anthony Joshua holding, talk about Jermaine Franklin, how he was insinuating the hold, especially after the 7th or 8th round when Anthony Joshua was catching him with a lot of brutal punches. But like I said, I give Anthony Joshua full credit. I think Anthony Joshua solidified himself that he's back in the heavyweight division, especially after 2 losses to Alexander Usyk that could have been real detrimental to his psyche. This is a guy who, my guy JJ said, everybody know was on top. You lose a fight 2 times to a guy like that, and you could do absolutely nothing when you used to being on top. That can mess with your psyche. Anthony Joshua came back in this fight, and he showed up and showed out. I'm impressed, and I look forward to seeing what he's going to do in the future.
So let's put things in perspective a little bit, right? Let's put these. I'm from Texas. I keep it real, okay? Look,
Texas too.
Look. Here's the thing. Let's say LeBron James, right, in a couple years is still playing in the NBA, right? But he's no longer a starter. He's the 5th man in the team. Like, he's a 6th man, I should say. He's coming off the bench, right? He's still scoring 20 points a game. He's still in the NBA. He's still a 1% athlete on the planet. You know what I mean? But if I compare, like, if you compare it to me, who the fuck are you, D-Style? Like, he's in the NBA still. He's scoring 20 points a game, 1% athlete, right? All true. But if I compare LeBron to LeBron, right, then I could see, okay, he went from MVPs, best in the league, best player by far, people arguing he's probably the best ever, to now he's a 6th man, right? Still impressive for a human being to be playing in the NBA, still scoring 20 points, to be a 1% athlete. Still amazing. And so what I'm doing is I'm comparing Anthony Joshua to Anthony Joshua, right? I got to be honest, Mr. ILTBA. I haven't seen the Joshua that annihilated Brazil in the ring and was throwing multiple combinations. I haven't seen that Anthony Joshua in years. I don't think he's mentally there. I don't think he was letting that right hand go with style. And as good as Franklin, he's a top 20, top 30 heavyweight in the world. That means he's good. But does he belong at that level, though? Does he belong in the ring? Does he belong going 12 rounds with Joshua? Would Franklin go 5 rounds with Wilder? Would he go 5 rounds with Fury? That's what I want to know.
Nah, but see, that's where you gotta look at the whole. You got to look at the whole thing, D-Style. You ain't looking at the fact that Anthony Joshua was once on top. He once was super dominant. He lost 2 fights, bro. He lost 2 devastating fights against the one or 2 top heavyweights.
Well, forget about Ruiz.
No,
forget about Ruiz.
Why is we talking about Ruiz when he came back and beat Ruiz?
See,
yeah, that's what people don't give Anthony Joshua his credit for, man. Like, y'all talk about him losing to Ruiz. Talk about him coming back and beating Ruiz too, and Ruiz couldn't do absolutely nothing with Anthony Joshua. Nothing. Even after knocking him out, making him look like that. Talk about how he couldn't do nothing with him in the rematch. He lost 2 fights to Alexander Usyk, fam. As fighters, we know. You can't win every fight. Look, at fighting's been like this a long time. He has to get himself back in the motion. And for you, D-Style, to say you expected a knockout, who are you to expect a knockout when you just stated he was
I'm not Anthony Joshua, though. I'm not.
I know, but
I have high expectations for him.
I know.
I would say. Well, no. I was gonna say to your LeBron comparison, right? That's a completely different situation. Like, even though I think we've seen the best of Anthony Joshua, you know, when you see LeBron playing in 2 or 3 years, we're all going to expect him to fall off the cliff. We're all going to expect to see that decline because of Father Time. I think this would be more like a what the hell happened to Zeke Elliott from one season to the next. We saw Anthony Joshua up here, and then now he still has the tools. He still has what it takes, but it's up here. Something happened up here. 40-year-old LeBron, he won't have the ability to be LeBron in your case. So I think what frustrates fans about Anthony Joshua is yeah, dog, you lost. Yeah, you took those 2 losses to Usyk, but dig deep, man. Find it in there. As a Zeke Elliott, a Cowboys fan, like I would find it. It's in there somewhere. You didn't get old overnight. It's there. So that's what I would say the difference is between the point you made about LeBron. It wasn't an age thing, you know what I mean? I like what he did. Obviously, he worked the jab, he worked his game plan to Correa's point, but I don't think he's there to compete with the savages of the division, man. Either whether
who was the savages of the division?
The youngsters,
Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. That's it. Them are the only 2.
Joyce?
Joyce? Man, listen, Joyce still got a lot of proving to do. Have he ever been the heavyweight champion of the world?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When it comes to Franklin, you said, come on, if you know boxing, you know who he is. You should know who this guy is. Well, if you know boxing, you know who Joe Joyce is, and he's rated a lot higher. I think you would favor Joe Joyce in a fight against Franklin, wouldn't you?
I would favor who?
Like, if they were going to fight, you would say Joe Joyce is going to beat Franklin, right? Joyce versus Franklin.
I think my phone messed up. I couldn't.
Joyce versus Franklin. Joe Joyce. Yeah, well, let's assume that's all.
What happens? But let's go around the pack. I have one more thing I'm wondering about. Does this affect your perception of the victories that Usyk had over Joshua? I'll start with you, JJ.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He was coming off. Joshua redeemed his loss. He did his thing against seeing how Medrick Taylor fought after Chavez. Did it affect that win the way we saw Chavez? No, because we know that Medrick Taylor wasn't the same fighter. So it didn't do anything for me in terms of Usyk's victories. Usyk fought a game Anthony Joshua. Maybe not the same Anthony Joshua we saw even against Klitschko and before that, but Usyk fought an Anthony Joshua that was pre-Usyk. Usyk, I think, is why we're seeing this, man. And for me, it doesn't take anything away from me how I saw Usyk's victories.
Hey, Slight Tendency, I appreciate it. Go ahead,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it's a Slight Tendency. I appreciate joining the membership, brother. Much appreciated. IOTBA, the question is, does this, and you kind of already answered it, but does this change your opinion about Usyk's victories over Joshua in any way, shape, or form?
Say that again.
Does this change your perspective or your opinion about Usyk's wins over Joshua?
What do you mean change my perspective?
Like, do you think the win looks any weaker or better? Or like, what is it still the same?
Weaker.
Based on how Anthony Joshua fought on Saturday, does it change the way you see how Usyk beat him? Or
does it take any of the luster off of Alexander Usyk's win over Anthony Joshua? The 2 wins.
Why would it? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree with you. Look,
so do you think it made the win look better?
Not better.
The win look better. See, why? It's like we talking about Anthony Joshua, like he a nobody or something.
No, not at all. Actually,
You have to listen to Anthony Joshua himself and the people around him that are even questioning it. Like when you got your promoter who's asked, how did you feel at the end of that 12th round? And your own promoter says, relieved, right? And then he's asked a question, do you think Anthony Joshua lost his confidence? Of course, he's supposed to lose his confidence. He just came off of 2 losses back to back. And then like his own people are acting like they don't believe in him. Oh, do you think he's ready for Fury next? Oh no, I think he needs a couple more fights. So again, like we have to face reality. Like he's still good. I mean, there's 1,300 heavyweights registered in the world today. And if you're in the top 5 or 6 of those, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So we're not going to say he's not a top 5 or 6 fighter. But the question is, this is a guy who was thought to be number 1, and now maybe he's 5 or 6, maybe even 7. That's not bad, but maybe not as good as what people perceived he was. That's just the reality. Like if you go on a job interview and you graduated in the top 10 of your class, but then you lie on your resume and said, I graduated in the top number 1, right? You're number 10 is still good, but you're not number 1. So it's a difference. Like being number 1 and being number 5, technically it's not a far drop, but it is in the public perception. You're not, when you're the man and then you go down a couple rungs, it's just not the same thing. So is he a bad fighter? No, he's not a bad fighter. But this is no disrespect to Jermaine Franklin. I have all the respect of anyone that gets in the ring. Sure. But this was his first fight having a full training camp. Like this guy is a roofer / warehouse worker. Given his background, he's a good fighter, but he's not in the top 30, bro. It's just the reality of life.
Top 30? He's not even the top 30.
He's not even in the top 30.
What's going on, Mario? But before you go, Mario, let me just
he's not ranked in any sanctioning body. He's not in the top 30 of any sanctioning body.
Yeah, but
he's ranked number 32 in BoxRec. This is his second 12 round. Before the Dillian White fight, he was fighting in 8-rounders. We just have to keep it real, bro. Like just because I scored the Dillian White fight a draw. Full disclosure. Great performance. But again, we have to keep this in perspective.
No. That's a hell of an analogy, Joe. I give you credit for that. Everybody give him a big old hand clap for that. But my thing is, Joe, if we're gonna keep it in perspective, just because you lose 2 fights or 3 fights,
he's an overachiever. He's an overachiever already in life. Yeah, if I'm him, I'm proud to sit down and tell my grandkids I fought Dillian White, probably beat him, and I went 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua, took his best shots. He already won in life, bro. He's already a millionaire. There's no shame in what Jermaine Franklin did. This is no shade on him, but he's not in the top 30, Mario. He's not in the top 30. He's not, Mario. He's not in the top 30.
What do your eyes tell you? Like regardless
exactly.
Of the numbers,
thank you.
Regardless of
what do my eyes tell me? Honestly, he's probably at best a top 15 fighter.
And I was referring to Anthony Joshua and his performance. Like regardless of who was in front of him, and obviously that's going to change the element of the game, but just his aura, the energy, the vibe.
When I'm seeing a professional fighter throwing a right hand and not snapping it, but kind of throwing it out there, damn, I got to get this back to protect myself. I'm second guessing myself. I'm seeing that, bro.
Let's let LTBA get his thoughts in. Go ahead, LTBA.
Joe funny.
I'm seeing it, man. That's what I used to do. When I was in the ring with dudes like you, IBTA. I couldn't keep up with dudes like you, man. So I'd be like throwing get off me punches, man. Just so I could finish the session.
No, Joe makes sense for what he's saying, but the question was, what do we think of how Anthony will look? I thought he looked great. If I looked at that fight, you probably could get Franklin 1, maybe 2 rounds if you being nice. We seen Anthony Joshua completely have this guy in control. So my thing is this, y'all. It's all about the bounce back. Anthony Joshua had to bounce back from them 2 losses that could have been detrimental to him. Now, if he came in that ring and just looked ass, I could agree with you, Joe. I could agree with you, D-Style. I could agree with you 100%. But I seen a man come in that ring, and I seen some new technical aspects he brought to his game. And this the thing. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry. I didn't see nothing new, man. I didn't see nothing new.
If that was the first time you saw Anthony Joshua fight and you didn't know anything about his past, if that was the first time you saw him fight, and this is for all of you guys, would y'all say this guy is a real threat in the division?
No.
That one, damn thing.
Absolutely.
No, and I don't think you can do that for anybody off of one fight in reality. I mean, you can. And you'll be fooled every time because you can find
Mario. I told you 12 years ago. I told you 12 years ago.
Let's go one at a time, or we're going to be all over the place. But
I told you 12 years ago Tyson Fury was the best, didn't I? 12 years ago.
We need Christine in here to straighten our asses out.
I saw it right from the beginning.
So look, ILTBA said he looks great, right? He's entitled to his opinion.
He's entitled to his opinion. I'm not discrediting what he's saying. I'm not discrediting what he's saying.
Hold on, I can't hear what he's saying. Go ahead, ILTBA.
I said what I seen out of Anthony Joshua. I seen a guy who that was a nice comeback fight for him against a
confidence
caliber
booster
of opponent. Yeah, and like I said, man, we still got to mention Anthony Joshua. I don't think Deontay Wilder could beat Anthony Joshua.
You do or you don't? Do or don't? I didn't hear you.
I don't think he could beat Anthony. I don't think Deontay Wilder could beat Anthony Joshua.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully they make that fight happen. That's a whole other discussion. We're not going to dive into that because we have some other topics to get to. But
no, I just said that because they mentioned him in the top 5 or 6 heavyweights, and I know Deontay Wilder in their top heavyweight, and that's the only reason why I mentioned that. I wasn't trying to go there.
100%. Look, we're going to go ahead and go to the next topic here, but for everybody tuning in, make sure you hit the like button, share the video on all your social media platforms. All right,
Mario,
well, Mario came in late, so it is what it is. Sorry,
yeah,
Mario.
that's no problem.
We got to move on. But let's go ahead and go to the next topic here. We'll go ahead and start with Mario. Mario, Tszyu, his fight got postponed again. Jermell's not ready. I guess the injury's that bad. So talk to me, Mario. What do you make of this postponement? Should Jermell be stripped at this point? It's been over a year. How long does Tszyu need to wait? He waited a long time. For those that don't remember, he agreed to fight Jermell for like 7 months in advance. And then the fight doesn't happen. He fights Harrison, wins in dominating fashion. Now he's going to come back in June because Jermell still won't be ready. Glenn Jennings, the manager of Tszyu, did tell me before they're not going to wait for Jermell. They're not going to wait around. Like they'll wait a reasonable amount of months, but they're not just going to sit around anymore waiting forever. But what do you make of the postponement again? And do you think Jermell should be stripped?
Yes, 100% I do. I think him, his brother, I think it's time for the WBC, the WBA, all these guys that have been able to kind of just do what they want for so long. And it feels like, look, I'm not trying to blame him for his injury. I remember one time, we got into kind of a little argument, or not, or debate about the right way to perceive with somebody who has a legitimate injury, but has not like proven it or whatever. It was the whole thing with Mel. Remember when Mel came back and they were asking for like proof that he was hurt or whatever. And, I think he ended up giving it. I don't remember. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't, if you're hurt, that sucks, man. It blows and it blows for us because we want to see the fight. But what do? You can't just hold the belts hostage like you're fucking Roman Reigns, okay? You can't just keep them with you and say, yeah, I'm going to get it back. Oh, yeah, we'll have this thing. And it's not good enough to say, well, we already have another date. We just haven't announced it. That's not good enough. At this point, you got to move on. You got to do that. You can't just hold on and backpile these divisions. The worst times in boxing in specific divisions have been at the catalyst of men who have either had money fights coming up or wanted to move up or had various things and held those belts hostage when there were rightful contenders, guys who have proven themselves, and they never get their shot. And we all know interims are bullshit. We all know all that stuff is bullshit. So it doesn't matter. Strip him from the belt. Make a tournament for it. No, strip him from the belt. Let Tim fight for it, whatever. I don't care. But at this point, there are too many guys in this sport that have had their belts for so long, injury or not.
Facts.
For sure. Okay. IOTBA, what's your opinion? At this point, should Jermell be stripped? Do you think since it's a valid injury, he shouldn't be stripped? What do you think should happen here?
Absolutely not. Jermell Charlo, the 154-pound undisputed champion, he definitely shouldn't be stripped at all. See, it's a difference when we're talking about these fighters out here who not fighting everybody or who not fighting the fights that we want. At 154, Jermell Charlo has fought every fight that we wanted to see him in, and he have did it in a spectacular fashion, and some and damn near most of them. So why should he be stripped because of an injury? I don't think when you've been as dominant and you have been on this level and you have been fighting the guys, the top guys, and winning, and you get injured, you should see that. I just can't see that.
All right. Babe, how do you feel about it, brother?
That's a tough one because we're coming up on May. It's going to be a year, right? And you're supposed to be fighting your mandatories within a year, right? I'd have to see the extent of the injury and how much longer he needs to be out, because if this is a serious injury and he's going to be out a while, then it's not fair to Tim Tszyu to have to continue to wait. It's not fair. So if he could get this fight in by within 2 months or so, then I would say don't strip him. But if it's going to take longer than 2 months to get this fight in, and this is going to stretch out to the end of the year and carry over to next year, then yeah, I think you got to strip him. I think you got to strip him. Make him like an emeritus champion or whatever when he comes back. And I'm going to say something, and this is just my opinion, and I could be way off here. I don't think he's really focused on 154 anymore. I think he wants to move up. I really think he wants to move up. I think he wants to, take on some other fights. I think he feels like I already became undisputed. I've done what I needed to do here. There's really not much for me to do at this division. I don't think he really cares too much about. With all due respect, I love Tim Tszyu. I don't think Jermell Charlo really cares about Tim Tszyu. I don't think he does. I think that like I said, I think he's just, his mind's on other things right now. I don't think he's dialed in 100% to defend that undisputed title. He's already complained about how, you got to pay all these sanctioning fees and stuff like that. I don't think he cares about it anymore. So
okay,
he may just move up himself.
JJ, how do you feel about it? I mean, it looks like Tim's going to come back in June against another opponent. It's not going to be Jermell.
Well, here, in regard to the strip question, man, boxing has a stigma, right? It's a stigma where if you get stripped, injury or not, or let's talk specifically injury, where it's hating or like, oh, they're just picking on me, or it's a bad thing. Obviously, it's a bad thing, but it's not like a targeted attack, right? Think about football, right? If Tom Brady winning all these Super Bowls, the year he comes and breaks his ankle, we all knew, okay, he wasn't going to be champ that year. It wasn't a bad thing. Injuries suck. Injuries suck for the individual. Injuries suck for the sport. Injuries suck for the fans. So I say that to say, like, if somebody were to say, no, Jermell Charlo needs to be stripped, then everybody, the Jermell Charlo fan base is going to say, no, you're just hating. You're just hating. No. Look, injuries suck because, A, you're not active, but injuries also suck because you're holding the division hostage. The fans want to see champions fight. So when I say, yeah, Jermell should be stripped, it's not because, oh, Jermell ain't defending his fights and I'm mad at him. No, it's just part of the game. And we need to change the conversation and the stigma to where, look, if you got an injury and it's a long-term injury, just know you're probably going to get stripped. As if you blow your ACL and your Tom Brady or whoever the hell, it's the same shit. An injury is an injury. It sucks for everybody. Get better, and you'll get your chance back. Do I think he should be stripped? Yeah, but not because I'm hating on Jermell. I think he's he's top 10 pound for pound. I think he's a hell of a fighter. But let him heal up. Let the sport go on, and come back and get your belts back, whether it be at 54 or 160.
Well said.
So I want to ask IOTBA this because he's the one that said hell no, right? So, and he was looking at JJ like JJ's a hater right now. Like he was just like,
look, man.
But I want to ask you, I want to ask you a very serious question, IOTBA, because I want your honest answer here, right? And I know you'll give me your honest answer. So, how long do you give Jermell? Like, give me a timeline. Like, up until when will you say, okay, strip him? More or less, like a ballpark.
It's tricky, man. I mean, because we done seen different situations where, just say a Keith Thurman, he held the belt for 2 years before he even got stripped of his belt.
His brothers had it for 2 years too, huh?
I know, but like it's a difference. And then when you say Jamal Charlo, I would say absolutely 100%.
Right. No question.
When you say Big Charlo, the 160 pound, yes, he should have been stripped. But when we talk about Jermell Charlo, man, like he's like the creme de la creme. I say he, like in my opinion, he may not be the best fighter in Texas. I mean, I think Earl Spence is that, but Jermell Charlo has did the most. And when you got a guy like that who has proven himself time and time again against the top competition, never duck no type of smoke, how can you strip him because of injury? That gets me.
It's not a bad thing, though. It's just part of the injury, man. Like, they're not saying they're mad at you or something. You just injured. Like
the Tom Brady thing was the best way to put that, because these guys get injuries. There's protocols. You know what I mean? Look what happened to the quarterback of Miami Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might completely revolutionize that. And I'm not trying to say it's like, oh, for Mel's best good. It's just we need to have rules that everybody follows, regardless of how much money you bring in.
Yeah, I agree.
This ain't the UFC. This ain't the UFC, fam.
Yeah,
exactly. Where they have rules and they have.
I guess what I'm wondering though is like
Mario brought the heat today. I love.
Here's the thing though,
boxing's a Wild West. You're right.
We got to look at it from all, because I get like we want to be as fair as possible to Jermell. Like, and I agree with you. I think Jermell's been a great champion in that division. He fought all the smoke, ducked nobody, became undisputed. So he has a lot of equity. He has a lot of like clout. But like, we got to be fair to the contenders too. What does Tim have to do at this point?
For sure, man.
What if like, would you be okay with like them maybe just stripping them of just the WBO?
I mean, then we're doing what we're trying to do. There needs to be some uniformity to this, man. Like time is time. Go ahead. My bad.
It's like this. It's like this, right? Say you and I were on a construction site together. We were all working. All of us are working on a job together, right? We got a big construction job we got to complete. I get injured. I go out on FMLA. I'll be out for a couple months. Does that mean we got to shut the job down? You got to shut the job down and no one else works?
Yeah.
No. The show must go on, baby. That's how life is. That's how life is.
Like, if you're a foreman, right? Are they not going to put in a new foreman because you're out with injury? Like,
exactly. All the people proving themselves.
The question is, does that foreman get his position back when he's back from the injury?
Yeah, you go on FMLA. That covers your job for 12 weeks, Daddy.
Love it, Adam.
I think everybody will agree that Jermell's going to get first dibs, right, when he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, I went on FMLA before I got a surgery. They have to take me back, baby.
Hey, really quick, Ringside Reporter says when people call you a hater, they usually have a condition called hero worship syndrome, and you are telling them something they don't want to hear, and it bothers them. Shout out to Ringside Reporter for the super chat there. Look, here's what I think, guys. And I put the poll, 67% is saying yes, that Jermell should be stripped. I think it's unfortunate. I think it sucks for Jermell, and I don't think it was his decision to make the fight in the first place that far off last year. And then he got injured like almost last second, and then now it hasn't healed, so it kind of sucks. But I think he has PBC to blame for this a little bit. Like, they're the ones that put him out of action for like 9 months almost, but like before a scheduled fight.
It's blame PBC.
You know, so I don't know. That's my opinion, but he should probably be stripped.
Blame PBC.
What is that?
Wow. I said, so we say blame PBC now, huh? Oh, Jermaine Charlo, a guy who do everything the right way.
I'm not saying he didn't do anything the wrong way, but
no, I'm saying he do everything the right. When I'm saying this, Jermaine Charlo, a guy who do everything the right way, who is the epitome of what we want boxing to be about. We want to punish this guy who has did everything possible.
No, we're not punishing. This isn't a punishment.
Listen to this, though. Listen to this, Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. Don't punish. Don't punish Tim Tszyu.
Hold up,
Don't punish Tim Tszyu. Don't punish Tim Tszyu either.
Let him finish. Go ahead, IOTVA. Go ahead.
Hey, man. Hey, what you just tell me about something? Life is like a box of chocolates, Tim Tszyu. You never know what you're gonna get. He gonna have to wait his damn turn. Tim Tszyu ain't did what Jermell Charlo gonna do. Oh, what? Just because he's a contender. Oh, because he's beloved because Costa Tszyu was one of our favorite fighters ever who shocked the world when he knocked out Zab Judah. We supposed to just punish Jermell Charlo, who's been the epitome of what we want boxing to be about, the best, fighting the best. We want to punish him for actually really being injured, for Tim Tszyu.
But IOTBA, he can't fight the best from a hospital bed.
Who did nothing? Tim Tszyu has excellent fight. I love Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu just beat like arguably Jermell's best win.
No, I know. No, his win against Tony Harrison showed me everything I need to know. Tim Tszyu is the real deal. And one thing I will deal with that ringside reporter Mario. Me and JJ and I already talked about this. Tim Tszyu, I wouldn't be surprised if he do beat Jermell Charlo. That's how confident I am in him right now. But the fact of the matter is, when you have done everything the right way, fighting the best fighters out there, you have been the epitome of the sport. You don't get done like that. You know, would y'all talk about Canelo? How long was Canelo out? Other fighters been out. Held the belt.
Should have been stripped too.
Get him out too.
No.
Yeah, I will say this though.
It's a difference because when you're Canelo, that's just how the game goes. You got to respect that. Canelo is Canelo.
But it shouldn't work that way.
I got my head chopped off. I got my head chopped off last week because I said Canelo was log jamming at 168. I got my head chopped off.
No, that's fine.
He's off with it. We got to change the stigma, guys. So this isn't a conversation. We should just know 12 months you can't fight. Or whatever, 18 months. We got to change the stigma from it being a
like
bad
JJ
fight.
wants it across the board for everybody.
For everybody.
Me too. Exactly.
It gets standard, bro.
Hey, don't we all want to drive the finest of cars and eat at the best of restaurants?
You're right.
With us. We got to change the stigma. We got to change the conversation.
That's the thing. We know this how boxing is. This not the UFC when it's under one person. Boxing is just like
gotta fix it.
We've been talking about.
We got to do better. Right? We got to do better, TBA. We got to do better, baby.
Hey, but IOTBA, serious question. Now I agree with you because look, some people want to strip Jermell, some don't want to strip Jermell. Everybody wants to strip Jermell, right? I get it, right?
Yeah, hand down.
And it's going to be hard for WBC to tell Jermell, give us that belt, like when Jermell's been out longer. It's going to be, I can't wait to hear that argument, right? But like, here's the thing, okay? IOTBA, okay, so a year is not enough. So how long? 2 years, 3 years? How long does he get to keep the belt before we strip him?
Nah, bro. Listen. Look, the presidents that I remember when the guy had them many belts, he wasn't undisputed, but he was unified. I think Keith Thurman had 3 belts. I could be right around belts, 3 belts, one of them. He was out for 2 years before they stripped him. And look, I can't knock Keith Thurman not stripped, right? Because at one point in time, Keith Thurman was the epitome of what boxing was about. He was fighting all the best fighters out there. So when he got injured, you had to respect that. A lot of people was out here talking about Keith Thurman was faking this injury. I'm like, who the hell do y'all think y'all are to tell Keith Thurman he faking this injury, a dude who has been boxing his entire goddamn life? That killed me with boxing fans.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, everyone's gonna have different opinions. They're likely not gonna. If they haven't stripped Jermell, there's no way they're gonna strip Jermell.
That's a hell of a point. That's a hell of a point. Like it's a mute point because as long as Jamal has it, Mel's gonna. I mean,
at least at WBC, like they're gonna have a really hard time. Like, give me that belt. Like, yo, my brother's got the belt still. Like, you know, but and we know 700 days still ain't enough. So we will see. We will see. Featherweight division. Robeisy Ramirez defeated Dogboe in pretty convincing fashion. Won most of the rounds. I lost my knockout bet, but it's okay. This is the stacked division with a lot of, as Cowlick says, a lot of good fighters. Maybe not one great fighter or something, but a lot of good fighters. It's a division that reminds me actually of 154 about 5 years ago, where there was a lot of good fighters. They had to get in the mix, and that's what we have right now. And we want to rate them from 1 to 5, right? There's a lot of fighters in this division, so I'm interested to know what you guys think. JJ, we'll start with you, brother.
All right, so this division for me obviously took a big punch in the gut when everybody started moving up and stuff. You know, we had Shakur in there just not too long ago. I don't have a guy that just stands out, right? And I think I don't know. I would assume we would all agree on that. For me, I based a lot of my boxing opinions on the eyeball test. And, you know, I think if I had to rank them, that's the question, right?
Yes.
That's what we're doing. I think just based on competition, we saw him have a hell of a matchup against Fulton. I'm going to put Figueroa right up there top, man. And again, this isn't something I'm willing to die debating for. Because, you know, it's one of those things that it's a bunch of talent, real talent. But I'm yet to just have my breath taken away by any of them. But if I were to have to rank them, I would go Figueroa, Robeisy, man. I like what I saw this weekend. He's got the skill set there. Again, I'm not just blown away just yet. I think he could have done. Dogboe is a tough ass competitor, but I'm going to go Figueroa, Robeisy, and then Mauricio Lara. And then from there, dude, like, again, I'm not sold on my own top 5. I don't have a top 5. That would be my top 3. And then after that, it's just bunched in, if that makes sense. And I'm not hating on the division. I just haven't seen enough yet for anybody to rise to the top. If I was a betting man, I'd say, you know, 12 months from now, Figueroa would be the king of the division, but I'm not going to bet $20 on that.
Okay. All right. Here's my top 5 guys. Mauricio Lara is the number 1 to me. This is not any particular, it's just an image, but Mauricio Lara is number 1 to me. Dominant victories over Warren, Wood. You know, some might not think that's enough. Maybe they think it's a level of competition thing, but I'll put Venado Lopez number 2, Robeisy Ramirez number 3. I got to go with the other champion, Vargas, number 4. And then I'm going to put Figueroa number 5. I almost put Wood, but I'm going to go with Figueroa for sure. Mario, what's your top 5 at featherweight? Chat, go ahead and put them in the chat as well.
Well, I wish I would have gone before you so I could have sounded a little more controversial, because I actually agree with you almost exactly. I have Lara first. I think that JJ said it best, right? You can argue to death whoever you think is number 1, but if you don't realize that these guys have not, you know, superseded any single person and established themselves, then you're just making an opinion. My opinion is Lara's fun to watch. He can make fights with anybody. I think he matches up well with the entire division. I don't know if I'd pick him every time, but he's a guy who's a live dog no matter what. Figueroa is my second, and that's basically because he looked really good in his last fight. He only lost to Stephen Fulton and I wouldn't say that Stephen Fulton's like, you can put him top 5 pound for pound right now. I'd understand if you had him out. But if there's a young fighter who looks pound for pound, it's Fulton. And so I can't really hold that loss against him. I'm going to put Lopez at 3. I think the same kind of reasons for Lara. He's looked really good. He's had momentum, even, in his tougher fights, like he's looked good. And then I'm going to go ahead and go with Lee Wood. I think that, I'm sorry, Ray Vargas is next. I'm sorry, for the exact same reasons that D said. And then my last one is going to be Lee Wood. He's impressed me so much with his willingness to exchange. This isn't a guy who's going to be able to go out there and just school anybody, right? He's going to have to work through rounds. He's going to have to make adjustments. He doesn't always do it in the best fashion that works for him. And a lot of times he does it in ways that still leave him vulnerable, but I think he's fun. I think he matches up well. And so for that reason, I put him number 5.
Can I just add, though, that Lee Wood was up on all the scorecards?
Yes, great point.
Like he was up on all the scorecards against, I believe, your number 1. Is that?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he looked great. That's why you got to have him, I think.
Okay. All right. Hey, Joe Habib, what's your list? I know you're like the adopted son of the UK, so you got Wood up there, Warrington. The Leeds Warrior. Are you going to be loyal? Is Wood there for you? Does it make the top 5? What's going on?
I'm going to throw you a curveball, Daddy. Here we go. I got Mauricio Lara number 1.
Don't lose your status, man. You're about to get knighted by the King of England.
Doesn't matter. I still got my MBE status, most honorable order. I like Lara at number 1. I love Lara's tenacity. I love his ability to fight on the inside. And I think he's the hardest puncher in this division. I think that left hook is a murderous punch, and I think he can put the lights out when he lands that against anyone. Brandon Figueroa is my number 2, and the reason why he's my number 2 is, he's easy. I want to say he's easy to hit, but he does get hit, does roll shots, but I'm not so sure he can roll that left hook of Lara. That may be a big question that he would have to answer one day. Ray Vargas technically is a great fighter from the outside. He's got a great pair of legs, excellent jab, so I like him. And Mark Magsayo, I thought, was right there with Figueroa. I thought that was a very close fight. I thought obviously Figueroa won it, but I like Magsayo. I think he's a very busy fighter. He's well-rounded, and he's got a lot of heart in there, and he's very athletic himself, high work rate. And I think Robeisy Ramirez showed a great performance against Dogboe. So he's my number 5.
Magsayo made your list, but like Wood didn't.
I'll tell you something about Wood.
I'm just trying to make him lose his UK status, but it's
okay. I think Wood is close, but I just think that some of the guys that are quicker than him can outbox him, and some of the guys that aren't as quick as him but are tougher than him and punch harder can get him out of there. So he's caught in between a little bit there,
Okay.
He has to be in there with the right style. I thought Conlon was winning that fight pretty handily before he got stopped.
And look, Conlon with a win over Lopez could definitely make this top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so right back in the mix.
He could get right back in that mix. Mr. IOTBA, the featherweight division. What's your top 5?
I agree with my guy JJ. It's just real up and down. I like Lara. I like Figueroa. I like Lee Wood. I like Mark Magsayo. I like all them guys. But if I just have to go with one, to me, it's about being more proven and showing up and showing out on the big stage. And I really like Brandon Figueroa. I agree with Joe. That dude right there, excellent analysis of him. He does get hit a lot. But he's, like he say, he roll punches, and his work rate is crazy. And if you're not able to keep up with a work rate like Figueroa, or have something that's going to counter his work rate, which I don't think we've seen too many fighters do, that guy's a tough matchup for anybody out there. So he might win.
Okay. Man, Figueroa based on eye test. So, hey, well, we'll see. He has a lot. He's a handful for anybody because of that work rate for sure. But
I think they've all got weaknesses, gaping weaknesses that need to be fixed. Right. We saw Lee Wood killing it, and then boom, it's over. You know, and now that made the difference between your 1 and 5. You know, it's a biggest damn toss up I think in all of boxing for me. So hell of a question though.
Yeah. Now, for those wondering, I know you guys came in. I actually put it now, like I had on like number 2 on my list, but everybody's list is different. Look, cap or no cap. The ring came out and said, yo, this fight is imminent. It's about to get done. Crawford Spence are gassing everybody up. Everybody's getting excited. Everybody, like, I'm seeing like Marcos Villegas came out. Oh, guys, I believe it this time. And then Dan Rafael came out and said, oh, my sources said it's bullshit, right? So it's the battle of the sources. Mr. IOTBA, cap or no cap? Are we going to get this fight this year?
I think it's no cap, right? Especially, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Especially after seeing Rocha get another fight, because why would Rocha take another fight when he's the mandatory for Terrence Crawford WBO championship? So that's imminent right there to me. That's the telling point. If you don't believe this is about to happen, look what Rocha is doing right now, because that's something you dream for, to get a championship fight, right? It had to be something they had to do, because you know you got to pay step-aside money to them guys, so you know you could do your thing. So obviously Rocha was happy with the step-aside money, possibly that's going to go his way, because he took another fight.
Yeah, that's.
I can't disagree with that. Okay. Hey, Joe Habib, cap or no cap?
This fight's done, man. It's all set. No cap.
That's cap.
Done. It's a done deal, man. This fight's a done deal, man.
Shooting blanks. Hey, Mario, cap or no cap? Are we getting this fight? Is the ring playing games, or are they for real?
I think it's no cap. I think the ring would have some info. Look, for as long as this fight was almost made over the last year, Mike Coppinger has been the heart and soul of us finding out the good news and the bad news and the broken hearts and all that. Ring, who is owned by, we know, and Crawford being established with Golden Boy at this point, I really don't know what that relationship really truly looks like, but I can at this point safely feel like they are inside there somewhere and implemented into what's going on in the discussions. So the fact that Rocha is moving on, right? That's a big thing. And also, I think that the heat that Ryan Garcia and Tank have put on the rest of the boxing world has been so impactful that I honestly feel like Crawford and Spence, I'm not saying they have any reason to be embarrassed or anything like that, right? But the fact that they were able to accomplish that on the heels of that fight not happening, and then you have the confusion of a 147-pound title match at 154, at junior middleweight with Thurman, of all people, like none of it made sense. So that entire narrative, I think, built a fire under these two guys that said, look, we got to get this done. We cannot look like fools. Ryan Garcia and Tank are showing us up. Let's get it done and show these guys why everybody wanted to see this fight in the first place.
Right. Hey, Dougie Fisher doesn't lie. He's a friend of the show. She's ringside reporter with a super chat. Much appreciated. He's never told a lie, huh?
No.
Doesn't mean he's lying. He could have had bad info. He could have bad sources.
That's true.
You know, but we'll see. JJ, cap or no cap? Are we getting this fight?
Listen, I got tired of talking about this, and it got to the point where it was like, who gives, like, if you say cap or no cap, like, who gives a damn? But, like, listen, I've always wanted to say this. You guys have been doing this forever. This is I'm still the baby here. Much love and appreciation to Mr. ILTBA for giving me my shot. But I have a source, a very credible source, and I'm thankful for this source. And you can insert source jokes here, but I just got a call on Tuesday. This fight is all but done. But so no cap on that. But the only thing that is kind of capish is the date. That's what I was told from a very, very reliable source that's relatively close to the fighters involved. So no cap. And thank you guys for letting me pop my saying this is my source cherry with you guys.
Yeah, just pass Heyman's number on and it's all good.
That's one of the lines I always use. Oh yeah, all but done, and then, like it's just
no, it wasn't. Yeah. I said that on my own. I thought I was inventing the all but done word. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we've been hearing that all but done for.
Hey, we got it done this time.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding with that.
We got it done this time, man.
I hope it happens. Look, like I hope it happens, but I just haven't.
It's already done.
I agree with Mario when he said the Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis, bro. You hit the nail. That's the nail in the coffin right there. Everybody need to give Mario a big old mother hand clap for that. That's what put the pressure on right there.
And salute, and we gotta salute those gentlemen for making that fight happen, man, because that is setting the precedent. It's making these guys uncomfortable about ducking or whatever the hell you guys want to call it. So yeah, cheers. I think
now Crawford just had to understand his position. You know, that's what happened.
Damn.
D-Style, what about you, cap or no cap? Waiting for the answer.
I think it's cap.
Whoa. We almost were unanimous.
I've heard, bro. You know how many people have called me? Oh, I'm close to the Crawford camp. I'm close to the Spence camp, and it's done, bro. And then then I hear that it fell off because of something.
Yeah.
Or one side asked for something, and I believe they're talking. I believe they verbally said, "Okay, we're going to totally do it," but if it hasn't been done yet, that means that there's something specific that's holding it up, right? And whatever that holdup is, usually ends up being the reason why it doesn't happen. But
waiting for a date. Just wait for a date.
Transparency.
But we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. Dougie doesn't lie, says Ringside Reporter. So I didn't say it is from the ring, so I can't.
Dougie doesn't lie, man.
I just want to know who, because Dan Raphael said his source told him it's nowhere near done. So
Dan Raphael's out of the loop now, man.
Dan Raphael ain't been the same since ESPN.
Ever since you got fired from ESPN, ever since you got fired from ESPN, he's on the side of the road. He's on the side of the road with a cup. He's on the side of the road with a cup.
That's my dog, though. I rock with Dan.
I rock with Dan too.
Hey, I signed up for his subscription just to show some love for his little new thing he's got going. So now I get spammed every day, but I show love to everybody, all of us, every one of us, guys, every one of y'all.
Hey, you're a good dude, JJ.
Will write for food.
Somebody talking about, and I know JJ mentioned ducking and whatever people want to call it.
I hate that word, by the way.
But speaking of that, Sonny Edwards has been going back and forth with Robert Garcia today on Twitter saying, Bam's ducking, he's dodging, he doesn't want any piece of this, and I'm the most avoided boxer in all of boxing, nobody wants a piece of me, like all that. So now I love it. I like the fact that he's talking trash. I don't have an issue with it, right? But nonetheless, he's talking his trash. He's the self-proclaimed most avoided boxer in the sport, and nobody wants that smoke, right? Mario, is he the most avoided fighter? And if not, who?
No, I don't think he's being avoided at all. I love that Sonny has always had this really open, charismatic presence on Twitter and social media. He engages with fans. He's not afraid to share his opinion. Like, that guy's got a podcast one day coming out. But at the end of the day, look, I don't care what he says. Like, if you're Bam Rodriguez and you have had the year that you have had last year, Sonny Edwards is just not it just doesn't get you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a flaccid dick of a fight. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That's not true. What I am saying is that he has options. Bam has options. He's in a pool with guys that would make so much bigger fights, headlines, all those kinds of things. So no, it's cap. And you seen
people say I crossed the line.
Hearn saying, that they've got a unification waiting for Bam if he wins and all these kinds of things. So we'll see. But no, he's not avoided. Who's the most? Man, I can't call it, bro. I'm gonna listen to y'all to see who y'all think it is.
Okay, all right. Calix Boxing, how's it going? Here's the question. Sonny Edwards is on Twitter calling himself the most avoided fighter in all of boxing. He said, even I'm calling out my brother, and he don't want to fight me. I'm calling out Bam, he don't want to fight me. I'm calling out everybody, they don't want to fight me, right? Well, what do you make of it, Calix? What is he the most avoided? And if not, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'll let you say it. Who is the most avoided if it's not Sonny Edwards?
You know what? I'm happy that a brother finally called out a brother. And I mean, it sickens me to this day that Beeb and D-Style are not for brothers fighting brothers. Brothers, if they're in the same division, need to fight brothers. This is what needs to happen. They need to put boxing above the blood, the lineage, fight each other. So, no, look, Sonny Edwards, I would love to see Bam versus Sonny. But what Sonny needs to realize is Bam has plenty of options in the division, right? Because Bam could go with Gallo next, right? But I'd like to see Bam versus Sonny is one of the top fights for me to see in boxing. I love that fight at 112, but I love the Gallo fight as well. So is he the most avoided? No. The most avoided to me right now, I would have to go with the guy who, breaking news, is now a free agent, Regis Prograis. He announced on Twitter just about 30 minutes ago, I believe, that he's now a free agent. So I'd love to see him go with Top Rank, to be honest, at 140. Get some fights over there.
Hey, Citron said it's Broner because the people were pulling out of the fight.
That's a good one.
Hey, so if not Bam, who is it, Cal? I mean, if not, then who's the most avoided boxer in boxing, in your opinion?
Regis, I think. I think
okay.
Well, now, I mean, there are several we could say.
This isn't going to shock anybody, but he's from New Orleans.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there. I mean,
I might have a little bit of bias. That's
Hey, JJ, is he the most avoided? If not, who?
Yeah, so look, I wrote it down just so you don't think, Alex, that I'm stealing from you. I'm going to start with the avoided part. Regis, for me, it's Regis. And here's the thing. Again, when we say avoided, everybody needs to pump the brakes. That doesn't necessarily mean you're scared. These guys are professional fighters, professional psychopaths. They sign up to get punched in the face, right? So these guys aren't scared of each other in 99% of the case, right? But there's things like money and all that, and what your manager telling you and all that. So with all of that being considered, not that Regis is the most feared, but I think the most avoided, I would say Regis right now. But let's take it back to, and I agree, like I said, I agree 100% with Calix. As far as Sonny Edwards, what was the question? Oh, no. Yeah, so obviously I answered the question before the question. I want to say, when you challenge your brother, dude, for some tweets and retweets and likes, like, that's disgusting to me, dog. Like, I get the element that you're saying, Calix. Yeah, we should prove who's the best, but everything has a line, dude. This ain't the medieval times. We're not trying to figure out who's the next king of, you know what I mean? This is a sport, man, and there's a line.
Strong words.
Yeah, so when Sonny challenged Charlie, I'm like, come on, dude. I don't even think Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny. I want to see 50-50 fights.
Not that it matters, but it was actually Charlie that challenged Sonny.
Yeah.
And then they went back and forth.
Okay, then I apologize to Sonny. Then both of those guys need to go back to the womb and figure shit out. Listen, I apologize to Sonny for saying that. I saw Sonny talking trash this week to Charlie, and maybe I didn't see Charlie's rebuttal, so my bad. But when Sonny says things like he's the most avoided fighter in boxing, I think it's silly. Maybe it's marketing. I do appreciate how he interacts with the fans. That's kind of cool. But straight up, and this doesn't have anything to do with me being from Texas and all that, I think Bam Rodriguez is on a completely different level, and I think that fight isn't even – I mean, it's not even it's a meh fight for me. So
agreed.
Gotcha. Mr. IOTBA, do you agree with Sonny, the self-proclaimed most avoided fighter in boxing? And if not him, who?
No, I don't agree with him, but I think he do probably deserve the fight. I don't agree with him being avoided, but Bam Rodriguez is levels to this, proven guy who done proven himself over the last 2 years from San Antonio, Texas. You understand me? How can we deny that? That makes me talk about the same thing I was speaking about Jermell Charlo. When you're proven like that, like these other guys just got to fall in line and wait their turn when an opportunity presents them. And I agree with my guy JJ and the fellow on the panel. I can't see his name.
Is Mario Calix?
Calix. It's Calix.
Calix Regis Prograde is the most avoided fighter in boxing and been the most avoided fighter in boxing for years now. What do this guy got to do? What do we got to do?
Yeah, no shit,
He
man.
had such a close fight with Josh Taylor. It could have went either way. Like, whoop-de-whoop. Me too, exactly. I thought he won. Then this dude stay at 140, stay disciplined, wait on his opportunity. When he get it, he passed with flying colors. He the champion now, and he still can't get no smoke. Man, what's popping? How is Teofimo Lopez more deserving of a fight with Josh Taylor at 140 than Regis Prograde? How is that?
It's not.
And then if we're gonna talk about avoided, like we clearly see how Josh Taylor avoided Jack Catterall for that rematch.
Yeah, that's true too.
But in my opinion, Regis Prograde has been the most avoided fighter for a long time, man. He just can't get his just due. And Regis Prograde does it all. He go out there and get the fans what they want in knockouts. He's very charisma. He posts on his Instagram. He give you him in and out the ring, everything you want your fighter to do. And this guy still can't get a first say. That kills me.
All right. Hey, Joe Abib, is Sonny Edwards right? Is he the most avoided in boxing? And if not, who?
I don't think he is, man. I think my man TF is the most avoided. Anthony Joshua didn't want to fight him. Alexander Usyk didn't want to fight him. So I'm going to say TF is the most avoided.
What?
The most avoided? What?
You said TF?
Hey, that's a good point, Joe. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. You right. That's a good point.
Cap.
What?
Oh, you meant he's avoiding the
he's the most
with Usyk. That's what you meant.
I mean, Alexander Usyk's promoter said that we pulled out of negotiations. Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn pulled out. I mean,
he kept getting his bluff called. Man, come on. Listen, I was a big Fury fan.
If you call holding 4 aces a bluff, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, man.
This guy's holding 4 aces, baby.
Yeah, who is Alexander Usyk? Like, I know Alexander Usyk is the champion, but that's Tyson Fury is different.
But
he is the most. He is one of the most magnetic guys.
He is different. He's like short bus different, but.
I love Fury. Don't get me wrong, but this shit he just pulled,
greatest heavyweight of all time. I mean,
oh shit.
He can't be that avoided if Chisora jumped at the shot to fight him, right?
King.
I mean,
how's the song go? Sing it for us.
He didn't quite quickly sign a contract to fight him. I mean, he doesn't look that avoided to me. Like Wilder was like insistent on the third fight. It's not like he was avoiding the smoke. I mean,
yeah, but Wilder was making so many excuses though. Like, come on,
like, I know, but he wasn't avoiding the smoke.
Was he
for that much money either?
I mean, Usyk's promoter said they pulled out of negotiations. I mean,
can you blame him, dude? Come on, let's think logically here.
That fight's happening.
Okay.
The fight's happening in December. It's all set.
Beef's trolling.
All I want to say about Sonny Edwards really quick is I know you've had a lot of sunny days, my friend, but you still can't get the job done when you get in the ring with Ben. All right, that's all I got to say. All right?
That was good.
You went to Chat GPT. Give me a
really quick though. Let's have a serious discussion about this brother versus brother thing because
for real.
So let's go around. Let's start with you, B. We'll go reverse. Let's start with you. What do you think about Edwards versus Edwards? Would you watch it? Would you be excited for it?
I'd be watching it.
Do you need it in your life?
I'd be watching it, but I'd be disgusted at the same time. I can't. I mean, that's horrible. There's not a day that goes by that I don't want to sometimes punch my brother in the face. But I mean, that's my brother, man.
Facts.
That's my brother. I mean, he gets under my skin. You know, I got a couple holes.
What's your brother fight you? If they offered him $1 million, would your brother fight you, Beeb?
My brother owes a lot of people money, so maybe he would. I don't know. But I couldn't. I would never do it.
Would you do your brother a solid and fight him then? Like if he owes people money, $1 million?
I'd do what Kevin Nash did, man. When Kevin Nash fought Hogan and he kind of laid down. I'd do that. I'd let him pin me. I'd let him pin me.
Swerve the fans.
Okay, IOTBA. Are you? Do you care? Do you not like it? What do you think about brother versus brother?
I don't care about it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. And the reason why I say I wouldn't be opposed to it is because we see it in all other sports all the time. In basketball, football, it's probably not on a regular basis, but sometimes you see brothers playing each other, cousins playing each other, So I wouldn't be opposed to it. Would it be something different? Would it be shocking for the sport of boxing? Absolutely. But would I be opposed to it? Absolutely not.
Okay, all right. So we got one. Well, okay. JJ, we know how you feel about it, but you want to reiterate.
Matter of fact, let me say this. Because listen, I consider myself an open-minded person, and I'm not one of those guys that sticks to my opinion and will die with my opinion. Corey, you just made a hell of a point. I earlier was just saying we need to be like other sports and do this. If this is a sport, then I shouldn't take things so personal. But since there's the fighting involved, right before Corey went on, I was about to say that's disgusting. It's disgusting to even think about it. It's a terrible idea.
It is disgusting.
It's terrible because the sport that we love involves beating the shit out the other person. But Corey, you swayed me a little bit. But at the end of the day, if I were to pay for that fight, because the marketing would be incredible, the promo would be awesome, all of that would be great. But the night I watched the fight, I would have this disgusting feeling in my stomach. And
wouldn't feel right.
For that, I'm out. But Corey, you had me right here, dog. You had me right here. That was a hell of a point. But those are my thoughts on it.
Alex, talk to us.
Give it to me. Give me the brothers fighting the brothers. Look. One of the reasons we haven't had a heavyweight lineal champion, or not lineal, but undisputed champion in over 2 decades is because 2 brothers refused to fight each other. That's more disgusting than brothers fighting, Beep. I'm sorry.
It wasn't meant to be.
There is no 2-headed heavyweight monster. It should never exist.
They promised your mother they wouldn't fight, bro.
And let me tell you something else.
Like, look at their legacy. Their legacy wasn't affected at all. About
yes, it was.
What would be awesome?
Remember who they fought.
You know what would be an awesome middleweight title fight is Mel moving up and fighting Maul.
Boy, talk.
But Maul's
hand. You can put on the undercard. You can put the Edwards brothers fighting each other.
What is the next? The Maloney brothers. You're gonna put the Zoo brothers in the same card or what?
Yeah, you're gonna put the brothers on the card, and you can make an exhibition match after the war is over. You're gonna have the Klitschko brothers fight each other in an exhibition match.
Winners king of Ukraine.
This is a sport,
and let Don King promote it and say this is America.
Hey, this is the truth, bro.
Neither of them are American.
Hey, he the truth up there, bro. He the truth.
This is a sport where one punch can change everything, and sometimes one punch can change a person's life.
Exactly.
Imagine your brother hitting you. Imagine your brother doing something to you, and you're never the same ever again. Could you wake up and live with yourself every day, going to Thanksgiving dinner, looking across the table from your brother? I'm almost gonna cry right now. I gotta fight it.
Listen, that was going to be my
wiping
point.
your brother's ass the rest
Go
of
ahead, Mario.
That was going to be my point. Look, we saw 2 brothers play in the Super Bowl this year, right? But those are, and I'm not trying to make light of football or anything like that, but none of them carry the risk of boxing. I'm sorry. We have seen people change forever in boxing, and it's happened in football too, but it's a game. There's a ball. There are rules. There are things that happen. This is a sport, like JJ said, that where you fight each other. How do you go home to Christmas and look your abuelita in the eyes while your brother's sitting right there, paralyzed or whatever? I mean, the risk factor, you have to go to every Christmas. For us, it's one fight we see. You got to go to Easter. You got to go to holidays. Like listen, all I can speak for is my experience as a Hispanic. That's with family over everything. You know what I'm saying? And then you're out.
Alex, this isn't PlayStation. This isn't PlayStation, Alex. It's real life. This isn't life.
What's ever going to happen?
I'm going to let you go over real quick. This isn't the Serena Williams sisters playing tennis. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like this isn't like even like in football where they're playing positions. Like this is the most dangerous sport in the world. That's what this is. Like, go ahead, JJ.
I was gonna say, look how much stress it was this year for the who was it? The brothers, the Chiefs and Travis Kelce and yeah. So look how much stress it was for their parents to watch their sons play against each other in a game like football. Imagine how much higher that damn anxiety and stress and concern would be if your sons are fighting each other. Like for me, that just wraps it up. I wouldn't be able to watch it if it was my sons fighting. But that.
Look, Alex, I'm not saying.
Ray has a brother. I don't have a brother. I don't know.
Let me just make this quick point. I'm not saying it's likely, but it's possible that something could happen. That possibility is there. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. Go to.
But see, that's the thing. You dudes on here thinking the worst. That's the first thing y'all say. Oh, something could happen. Oh, I can see my brother for the Thanksgiving. So what? Look, this boxing.
Do you have insurance?
Listen.
You have insurance?
This is boxing. Listen, this is boxing. It's a tough sport. Stop crybaby. Suck your mama titty for these dudes. They the ones who sign up, and they understand. They understand the sport that they are in, fam. I'm not finna cry for these fighters. They know what they signed up for. Was they parents?
They signed up to fight their brother.
Hold up real quick. You talking about, they don't want to be sitting across from their mother on Thanksgiving dinner. Was their mother worried about them as an amateur when they could have took a blow to the head and been done for the rest of their life? Was the parents or the cousins or the coaches worried about them then? Come on now, stop that. They signed. This is what fighters sign up for. You fight to fight.
I got
do you have insurance? I got
a gem. I got a gem right now.
All right.
When you join the army, right, and you go to war alongside your soldiers, your brothers in arms, right? You know that you can die, but guess what? You don't want to be taking a bullet from one of your own men, do you? You'd rather die from the other side. You don't want someone from your own side to kill you. You don't want someone from your own side to kill you. That's your flesh and blood.
I grew up South Louisiana. This is football country, and we used to play a game called throw up tackle in front yards. And you throw the ball up, and you have about 10 dudes. If you catch the ball, they're all coming for you. My brother used to get the ball, and I'd forearm shiver him into the wall, and he would do the same to me. And brothers would play each other and get hurt all the time. All I'm saying is, it's a sport, and if you're in the same division, you got to fight. I don't care what the last name is.
Who here has brother? This is what kills me right here. This is what kills me. When all these fighters be talking about, and people around the world be crying for these fighters, talking about they put their life on the line. Well, that's what you signed up to do. If you don't preach to me about you putting your life on the line when you signed up to do it.
With that being said,
look, we criticize fighters. That's why at the start of the show, like, you got mad because I criticized Franklin. Like, well, why are you talking like that about Franklin?
I didn't get mad.
But what I'm saying is,
I didn't.
Like, do you have insurance? Do you have insurance?
Man, listen, don't put words in my mouth. I didn't get mad. I didn't get mad because you said that about Franklin. I said people are discrediting that Franklin was a good fighter. I'm not mad about nobody in the way of what they thought.
He's okay.
Opinions is opinion. Franklin is a good fighter.
He's all right.
Right?
But
And
here's
like
the thing.
and just like Joe stated earlier, right? He had that fight a draw with Franklin versus Dillian White. I had Franklin winning that fight. So you know what I was looking at that night in actuality? I was looking at an undefeated fighter in the ring. He may have had one loss.
But I want to ask you this, though. Do you have insurance?
Man, what's your point, man?
It's a yes or no question.
Man, what's your point, bro? I ain't into the riddles. What's
Okay,
your
hey,
point?
JLB, do you have insurance?
I do. I have insurance.
Calix, do you have insurance?
We all have. I'm sure we all have
Why?
insurance.
Why? Like, well, why are you thinking about the worst case scenarios for? Why are you wasting your money on insurance?
Good point.
No, bro, listen.
So like, when I'm thinking about the worst case scenarios happening to fighters, like it's a possibility, right?
Okay, they sign up for it though. Tell them to stop fighting. Let's all of us stop.
No, I don't want them to stop fighting. I just don't need them to the 0.0001% chance that it's a brother.
Playing devil's advocate though, against my own point, in a football game, if Eli Manning would have got his head ripped off by whoever the hell Denver Bronco was, and Eli Manning's paralyzed while Peyton Manning's celebrating his Super Bowl trophy, it's kind of the same shit. I just think it's disgusting to see them fighting against it's
JJ. Let me throw this at you, JJ. And this is probably something. It's bad to say this, right? But it's the reality of the situation. If you would have hurt somebody that wasn't your brother, as opposed to hurting your brother in the same fashion, and with both fatally you hurt, either your brother or someone else, wouldn't you feel worse hurting your brother fatally than you would someone else? I mean, you would still feel bad, but you'd probably feel a lot worse hurting your family, right?
And as an individual, of course, but what would the public see? Just another dead boxer. So
you're the one that has to that's going to go to bed every night thinking that.
Exactly.
The
question is, one night of boxing isn't bigger than that. At the end of the day, these guys, look, I'm just going to put it this way. If you think it's an okay thing, or if you would fight your own brother, that's fine. It's not my business. That's your family. I've seen many brothers fucking try to beat the shit out of each other. Okay. Yeah. But you're never going to tell me what I can do with my brother. You're never going to tell me about my family business. And it's never going to be the fact that, well, this is boxing. You signed up for it. I didn't sign up to fuck my brother up. And when I go in the ring, you're right. It is a business. This is my money. I take this shit serious. I'm going in there to kill. I can't do. You think you could just do that with your brother like it's a snap?
Here's what I'll say.
It would be a lousy ass fight. It would be a lousy ass fight.
They wouldn't try to hurt each other.
Hold up.
It would be like an exhibition.
It would correct. I would have trouble fighting you, dog.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable. But let me get back to Mario up here. He want to sit up here and boo-hoo and cry and talk about his family because you're so personal and then died, and you say you're Hispanic and that's how family love. Well, Mario, everybody's not like you, fam. 100%. You can't make everybody think how you think, fam. Everybody's not going to agree with everything you say, Mario, because you're from a Hispanic family and your family does it like that.
But how many brothers have fought each other? So I think that I think they agree with me more than they agree with you.
No, exactly.
In the sense that no brothers have fought.
No, that was a hypothetical question they asked us. We know ain't no brothers fought each other. That was a hypothetical question, sir. Yeah. But don't sit up here and try to tell somebody the way you are and the way they supposed to think because the way you do, well, everybody on here is different, sir.
No, but I'm not trying to tell you how to think. What I'm saying is that this is the logic I have, okay? And it seems to match the logic of the Klitschkos, the Maloneys, all the people that are actually doing the fighting. Because we can sit here and say, this is boxing, but neither of us are going in the gym every day. Neither of us are putting those hours in. Neither of us are trying to beat a man for 12 rounds. So the fact that these guys haven't done it, I feel like, and I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong, but I think that if you look at it logistically, everybody agrees with me or with Calix or with JJ or with whoever is saying that brothers shouldn't fight. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
Say that,
hey,
oh, my bad, not Calix. Calix brought the whole thing up. My bad.
Hey, listen.
No. I respect it, and I respect it, Mr.
There's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer here because here's the thing. There's no law that says you can't fight your brother.
Exactly.
Have you ever got into a fight with your brother?
Yes.
You got a brother, Mario?
Yes, I've gotten into a fight with him.
You ever got into it? So what you fighting your brother for, Mario?
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's my family business.
No, I'm saying what you
can't
fighting.
sit up here and tell me.
You just stated on here you don't want to see brother fight brother, but you just told everybody from the 214.
I'll tell you, there's a difference between getting an argument with your family and getting in a fist fight, which happens, 100%. Right? There's a difference between that. Well, hold on. There's a difference between that and how about you two fight for our entertainment? Go beat the shit out of each other for our entertainment. There's a
Usually-
difference between those two things.
Usually when I
That's
fought
some
my
real shit
brother,
right
my
there.
parents broke it up before we got hurt.
Yeah. And I never
That's
tried to
usually-
like punch him out. Listen,
No,
I
but-
took jujitsu for 6 years. I could have choked him out at any time I wanted.
I do
I never
agree.
did it.
I do agree with one certain point Mario is making. It never happened. This is just a hypothetical question.
Sure.
I just said I'm not
But
opposed.
Alex wants to
to
see
it.
it happen. That's the problem.
And then y'all said, and y'all, what got me was y'all sitting there saying, "Oh, what if something happened?" Man, I'm not trying to hear none of that about none of these fighters, fam. Because at the end of the day, they choose to
Hey,
get
so-
inside that squared circle.
Really quick, Alex, this whole time I've been trying to get back to you, but give us your final word on this, and then we're going to move on.
Okay, my final word on it is I just looked it up, and this actually happened in Japan back in 1993. Kazuo Iguchi fought Katsuki Iguchi, and it was a brawl, and it ended in a 6th round knockout.
Was it scheduled for 12 or 10?
It was scheduled for 12, ended in a 6th round knockout.
Wow.
Is it on
Title
YouTube?
shot
Is it-
too. That's
Is it on
crazy.
YouTube? I want to watch it. Is it on YouTube?
I ain't watching that shit.
Listen to the
Man.
biggest hypocrite that I am. I want to see
Yeah,
it
that
now.
was.
I know, right?
I'm such a hypocrite. I'm the biggest hypocrite,
I'll watch it
JJ.
right
After virtue signaling like a motherfucker, now I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
my
I'm
brother.
over here like, yo, I'm
Now,
hyped.
now
I
look,
want to see
Oh,
it.
it's
Now I
first
want to
video?
see it.
Let me check that out.
I will agree to this. If Edwards and Edwards agree to do it, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, and I think JJ said this, I'm probably not going to really enjoy watching that. That's all I'm saying.
Hell no, dude.
I'll watch
but
it,
that's
I'll-
just-
but I'll feel funny about it.
I feel like it'd be a work, honestly. I feel like it'd be like one of the Floyd Mayweather fights. Like it's just a work.
It
You know
would
what I
be
mean?
boring as hell, dog. It would
It'd
be
be like
boring.
watching a porno knowing my girlfriend's in the other room. And I wouldn't
Jesus Christ.
It'd be watching a porn and your girlfriend's in it.
Porno with your girlfriend. Like she's in that bitch.
Pause.
That's even worse, JJ. Don't even go to the JJ. You're killing me.
I like just find my brother shit. But anyway.
You like that one, huh?
Oh,
You like
when
that one,
watching
baby?
porn with your girlfriend that's into porn. New question.
I don't even know what to say to that, but how do you transition? You know what I mean?
Like going on X video, that'd be like going on X videos and seeing my ex-girlfriend there.
Hey, that was a great spontaneous topic. I just want to say, good job, D.
Yeah,
And Alex.
I don't know about all that, but we're going to go ahead and proceed here, guys. We're going to go ahead and proceed. Let's talk about this weekend fights. There's a lot of them, right? But specifically, this is the question, okay? That we have 3 big rising stars in boxing, right? Some of them are either current or former world champions, but they're solid favorites this weekend. Fondura is going to fight Mendoz and Showtime. There's a card there. Shakur is going to fight Yoshino on ESPN. Bam is going to fight Gonzalez on DAZN. No offense to their opponents, but they're the clear favorites here, right? No doubt about that. But this is a question to the panel, and if the chat wants to comment, go ahead and let us know which is the most likely upset of those 3 fights, right? More likely to happen, and who's more likely going to put on the best performance. And you could define best however you want to define it. Alex, we'll start with you.
Okay, so the most likely to be upset, and I'm going to agree with the Vegas odds here. The most likely to be upset would be Sebastian Fundora against Brian Mendoza. I don't see it happening, but that would be the most likely. Shakur is a 20-1 favorite. Bam's a 22-1 favorite. And they're there for a reason. It's not like Yoshino is a bad fighter. It's not like Christian Gonzalez isn't a bad fighter. It's just those 2 guys are like and you know this D-style, like those are 2 guys for about a year and a half, 2 years now. I've been saying I think those are the 2 guys who could become pound for pound king a year, 2, 3 years down the line. I mean, Shakur, very high on Shakur, very high on Bam. I just don't see those guys losing to anybody in their division, much less guys they're facing this weekend. I think Sebastian Fundora rolls, but that would be the most likely upset. I think Bam's going to show out again.
Okay.
Bam's performance, I was there at that fight on the undercard of Canelo and Triple G. It wasn't his greatest performance. It was still a good performance, but it wasn't the performance we saw against Soro and Vise, et cetera, that year. So I think he was a little worn out from the year. I think he's going to come back with a vengeance in this fight, and I think he's going to show out and get a knockout, big knockout.
Okay. All right. JJ, of those three matchups, most likely upset, who do you think is going to have the best performance of the night? Who's stealing the night?
Yeah, you could copy and paste what Galaxy said. Those. All right, none of them. I don't anticipate an upset by any means on all three of them. If I had to pick which one would be upset, obviously my obvious answer there would be Sebastian Fundora. Listen, with Fundora, and hell, y'all can all talk shit to me. I know I'm probably being an asshole here. I'm not gonna latch on to him yet, because the one thing I'm worried about is just his stature. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, and he can keep proving me wrong, and I'm gonna keep giving him his damn kudos every time he proves me wrong. So the only reason I would say Fundora there is because the weight he's in, somebody can just attack the body and all that. So with that being said, Fundora is going to win this fight. But I want to talk a little bit about Bam and Shakur. Those two guys, to me, Corey can tell you, I've been super high, and now it doesn't mean anything because I think a lot of people are super high on Shakur. I've been super high on Shakur for a long time. I think that guy is – one day Canelo's going to hand the pay-per-view torch to Shakur. That's how I think Shakur is the future star of boxing. And I think Bam Rodriguez is right there behind him, dude. I think Bam, what he did last year was phenomenal. I think he had a hell of a year in boxing. I think his last performance was a little lackluster. But that happens, man. That happens when you start hearing stuff. As you guys are going to realize, I think a lot about the mental game. And as a young kid like Bam Rodriguez, you finally start hearing your name being popped up in conversation. You might start believing in yourself too much and not taking preparation in camp as serious. I think Bam learned a valuable lesson in his last fight that didn't result in a loss. Fortunately for him, he's that damn good. I agree 100% again with Calix. I think Bam is going to come out and show the world that their last fight was a fluke. I think that fight ends in knockout. But Shakur Stevenson is at 135. He wants to make his presence known. I think we're going to see the most, like, his opponent has 12 knockouts in 16 fights, I think. The guy's a knockout artist. I am willing to bet y'all, all of you guys, that Shakur won't get touched. I think he's going to look impressive in all 3-4 phases of the game. So I think Shakur has the best performance. Bam has a hell of a performance. I think all three of them have it, I think all three of them look great, but if I had to pick one to lose, it'd be Fundora.
Okay, all right. Mr. ILTBA, 3 fights. Who's more likely to get upset, and who do you think will steal the night?
Okay, I just got to go with one guy, right? First off, likely to be upset. I agree with Calix, JJ. Sebastian Fundora is the more likely to be upset. And I also think Sebastian Fundora is going to be the guy that steals the night. Like, we talk about Sebastian Fundora and his frame. Me and JJ, we was up there at the fight in California, and I think that was January or December, Golden Boy card. And we got a chance to meet Sebastian Fundora for the first time. And when I tell you that's a tall, skinny pickle, he really is like that in real life. But one thing he does, he has them long arms and wide punches that can extend, and he showed vicious knockout power. Like, I like Bam Rodriguez. I like Shakur Stevenson, but I don't think they got that type of pop, like first, second, third round type pop, where they could get you out of there like Sebastian Fundora can. So I think it's one guy that night who could possibly get upset and possibly steal the night.
Okay, all right. Joe Habib, 3 fights, 3 rising stars, most likely to get upset. Oh, and who's going to steal the night?
You put me on the spot right now. I got all 3 guys in a parlay, so I hope none of them get upset. I mean, you're killing me here.
I need to do that shit.
It's a good parlay, though.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah, I got a big parlay going on
Text
Saturday,
me though what
man.
the odds are when you get tonight.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, this is tough because I don't see any of them getting upset. But if you put a gun to my head, damn, yeah, it would have to be Fondora if you put a gun to my head. But I just don't see it. But Bam's been impressing me. Even in his last fight, I like how he kind of came back towards the end. He had a couple rough spots, but he finished strong. And I think he was a little burnt out because he's been on a busy schedule, but he's been rested. And I don't even think the guy's peaked yet. So he, like Kalik said, he made a great point. He could come back with a vengeance, right? After being rested and everything. And he's always been an overachiever in my eyes anyways. I mean, I always thought he was good, but I never thought he was as good as what he's shown thus far, especially for a young guy. So, yeah, I think Bam will steal the show.
Okay. All right. Same question to you, Mario.
Yeah, I was just going to copy and paste Calix and JJ's answer, but I think Mr. IOTBA's answer was like the best. I mean, you're absolutely right. Fondura is the most likely to lose. That's my opinion. Of the three, I don't think he loses, obviously, but of the three, he's the most likely to lose. And I also think he's the most likely to have a perform. I mean, look, Shakur in the chat is, making fun of the fact that he's put on some snoozers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he's just such a solid, well-based fighter. I don't see him losing. Bam is in his height and he's rising. The momentum sees on his side. But I'm not going to be a guy who sleeps on Fundora at all. You know what I'm saying? Those guys have the pedigrees. Those guys have the hype. But Fundora has the height. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to go with Fundora on that one.
You guys remember the Rocky movie when they asked Rocky 4, they asked Rocky, so what do you think Apollo needs to do against Ivan Drago? And he turns, Apollo, the first thing you got to do is go get a ladder. Like Mendoz can need a ladder. Like, you need a ladder to fight this dude.
Hell yeah, man.
Like, this guy is like, I don't know. He's not supposed to fight on the inside, but he fights better when he fights on the inside. When he fights the way people say he should fight, like you use your distance, jab, he doesn't fight as good. He's just, and I think the fighters, like, who do you find to spar you? Like what do you do? Like, you know what I mean? So they don't know how to prepare for the angles. It's crazy. But he's a knockout waiting to happen, though. Yeah. Now, that dude is getting cracked every fight, and at some point, the chandelier is going to crack. In my opinion,
talking about like Paul Williams against Sergio Martinez type.
Yeah, like one of these days. Now, granted, Mendoz is no Martinez, right? But and Fondora might be better than Williams.
He showed in the Erickson Lubin fight, though. He's got a chin.
He does. He got hard. Yeah.
But that's the point. How do we know he's got a great chin? Because what happened in the fight?
He won the fight. He won the fight.
Yeah, he got up and finished fairly strong, actually.
D-Style, we never answered this question. Who should Tim Tszyu fight next? Now that we're talking about Fundora, how do y'all see that playing? And this is where my concern is for Fundora. When he fights somebody like Tim Tszyu or Jermell Charlo, like, what's that going to look like? If you ask me right now, I say that's not even going to be close. Tim Tszyu or Jermell Charlo. What do y'all think about that? And I'm not trying to, but we never answered the Tim Tszyu question that you put on our study guide.
Sure.
Study guide.
Well, yeah, look, obviously it's going to naturally come up because Fondora's at 154, right? Look, here's what I think. In my opinion, all right, I think Tim Tszyu beats Fundora. Like, that's how I feel. Now, the problem with Fundora, he's going to be tough for anybody because of the volume. He keeps coming. He's got a chin. But what happens, like the reason we know he's got a great chin is every fight is getting lit up. Every fight, they're landing overhand rights, hooks, everything in the book on the guy. Yeah. At some point, everything's fight night. Eventually, he's not going to be able to take that anymore. Eventually, the chin's not going to be as good anymore.
He's young, though, B-Style. Like, he's young, though. He's young still. Like, I think that's like I know what you're talking about, like a Baldomir eventually getting knocked out by Canelo, but that was late in his career. I think it's a ways away before Fundora gets stopped. Like, but I could be wrong. Like, we didn't think Paul Williams was gonna get stopped like that. So
I think he rolls a lot of the shots. He partially.
I don't know. He didn't play. He was rolling. He was rolling on the mat like when he got knocked down by oh boy. But I mean, it is what it is.
You know what's interesting is this is a showcase weekend coming up. I mean, you got Keyshawn, you got Big Baby fighting. Yes. You got Kenshiro Taraji's back in Japan, but MJ Akhmadaliyev's fighting too. But the one fight I look at this weekend, like if you're looking for an upset, and I could be dead wrong about this. Brandon Lee doesn't look all that impressive to me. I don't know.
Well, talk your shit.
And he's fighting Pedro Campa. And Pedro Campa gave Teofimo a decent fight in his last fight. I'm just saying, like, I don't think Brandon Lee is above being upset. There's a reason they've been babying Brandon Lee. I'm gonna just leave it at that. And Pedro Campa's
and what about the heavyweight fighter who's fighting Big Baby? What about him? It's a lot of people talking about him as well. I can't think of his name.
That's a good fight.
Yeah,
I like that fight.
Name, but that's a hell of a fight too, man. That could end up as a shocker too. No, but you're right. Those are two we're not talking about.
So let's go around really quick. Let's go around really quick. Calix, who would you like to see Tim Tszyu fight in June? It's not going to be Jermaine.
In June?
He's coming back in June. It's not Jermaine. Jermaine.
Yeah, no, I know that. It's just it's got to be a stay busy fight, right? And before Mel, it's got to be.
Tim Tszyu is. He's not the stay busy type of guy.
But he's starting to. He's changing it.
Yeah, he was looking for opportunity, but with that opportunity in his hand, you know what I mean? Like, what fighters risk, you know what I mean? So many guys in that position over the last 30, 40 years, they stay busy.
Here's what I'd like. If you just ask me who I'd like to see him fight, I'd like to see him fight Brian Castano. I mean, that'd be
okay. Hey, that's a good fight. That's a really good fight.
Great
JJ.
Listen, when you get all these up and coming guys and these guys that are supposed to be the next guy, it's best to just nip it in the ass before we're talking about it forever, like Spence and Crawford. I want to see him fight Fundora. Like I want to nip. I want Fundora to prove me wrong on a Tim Tszyu level. So at that point, if he fights Tim Tszyu, we're gonna know is Fundora for real or he's not. I think we saw Tim Tszyu with Harrison, so I want to see Tim Tszyu and Fundora.
Okay.
I know
IOTVA.
Yeah.
IOTVA.
I agree with JJ, man. I want to see Tim Tszyu fight Fondora, and I also agree with whoever said Castano. Them are two good fights for Tim Tszyu. Them is the perfect matchups because just think about it. Fondora is this rising up and coming 154-pound fighter who looks the part, whether we say he get hit or not. Like, he do get hit a lot, but can we also give him credit for having a good chin? Can we give him credit for that? I know,
of course.
Fighters, this is the hurt business. He could get knocked out. But what we've seen thus far of Sebastian Fundora, he has showed that his chin has held up. But I agree with JJ and whoever said Castano. Them the two fights right there.
All right. Chabib, who would you like to see him in the ring with?
I think maybe Erickson Lubin.
Yeah, it's a good fight too.
That's a good fight for him.
Okay. All right. Mario.
Yeah, I actually was going to say Castano, but Lubin sounds good. I like Brian Castano. I like it, but it just, the narrative bothers me that it's like Mel keeps pushing back, and then like Tim Tszyu is just constantly has to beat it, his toughest opponents. Like, so I don't know. Erickson Lubin sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. Hey, just a caveat. They did take the Harrison fight, but with the caveat that the interim was on the line, right? So if they do fight a Fondura, or like, no doubt in my mind, they're going to be like, well, at least put the interim on the line or the vacant belt or something with that. So it might just be like an Erickson Lubin or something like that. You never know, but they want something for the challenge in return. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. One more topic. All right. So last weekend, we had WrestleMania, right? Now, we could only dream in boxing because in boxing, we're lucky to get one good fight on the card, but maybe two, right? On the same card or whatever. But something Ryan Tank Davis is like our WrestleMania, I guess, maybe you could argue that. But let's say you were given, and I want to know chat things, if you were given supreme power, no questions asked, no obstacles, no injuries, you had all say, right? What would be the venue? What would be the main event? Give me 3 undercard fights and an opener. What would be your boxing main event?
I'm ready for this one. Ooh.
Let's start with Mario.
Oh, thank you. Cowboy Stadium. I mean, I'm sorry, AT&T Stadium, so that I can go, first of all, because a card that I've built would sell out easily. The opener is going to be an Iron Man match, Inoue versus Fulton, 15 rounds. They're gonna have to do 15 rounds in an Iron Man match. AJ versus Wilder. Loser leaves boxing. We're gonna have Bivol and Beterbiev. Canelo's the special guest referee, and the main event is a little weird, but we're gonna have Aoki Kinshiro. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that was I messed that one up. I'm sorry. It's Haney and Shakur as the main event.
Haney and Shakur is the main event.
What?
$49.99. $49.99.
Wait, how much?
I mean, I guess you could put Wilder AJ.
$49.99.
I gave him the power of a god, like to give us any card, any main event.
That's my card. I like it.
I hate that you got me last over here, bro, because I don't want nobody to steal my answers.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I went with. It's not true.
I'll go.
Turns. So
I'll go because mine was similar to.
Go ahead, ITB. Go ahead.
Mine was similar to Mario's. It was for the first fight. You said 3 fights, right?
Sure, you could do as many as you want. I don't know.
Yeah, it was in you versus Fulton. Then I promise to God. Then there was AJ versus Wilder. You know, or Usyk versus Fury. But then my main event was Spence versus Crawford.
Okay. All right.
And
like it.
That would definitely be in Las Vegas.
Okay. The MetLife no, not the MetLife. What's it called? The stadium?
The Raiders, whatever.
The Raiders?
I mean, it depends. I mean, Raider Stadium, MGM, either one of them down there.
All right. JJ, what's your
right,
boxing mania card look like?
Thought a lot about this because this is serious boxing talk, and I want to talk serious. So, as much as I'm a Cowboys fan and I'm a Cowboy, the stadium's going to pack up 100,000 plus people. The fight needs to happen in Vegas, but we need to have a big venue. So the venue is obviously going to be where the Raiders play. Reliant? Is it what the hell is it called?
Well, I think it is Reliant.
I forgot what the hell it's called. So the venue, Vegas Stadium, right? Opening fight. Wilder versus Ngannou. We're talking wrestling, boxing mania, right? Wilder versus Ngannou. Opening fight, not a purist fight, but still, that shit's going to draw some numbers. Main event, because we want to keep it boxing purity, I want to see the undisputed heavyweight champ of the world, so I'm going to go Fury Usyk for the main event. But for the 3 fights in between, I want to see Spence versus Bud. I want to see Inoue versus Fulton, but here's the fun stuff. We're talking boxing mania. I want to see a tag team fight now that it's been into inception. Bam Rodriguez and Josh Franco versus Sonny and Charlie.
Love it. Love it.
Of the world.
Now, is that
up for $100? I don't know what card will.
Okay. All right. Babe, are you gonna how much is that? That's like $100 pay-per-view for me right there. Like, you know what I mean? How much is your pay-per-view? Let's see how much Beeb's pay-per-view is. I'm gonna rate all your pay-per-views, but
all right. So my opener is gonna be Zubro Matias versus Regis Prograis.
Oh shit.
That's the opener. That's gonna be the opener. All right. Then I'm gonna do for the second fight. I gotta do Bud Crawford. Well, no, for the second fight, I'm gonna do Bivol versus Beterbiev. Then I'm gonna do Crawford versus Spence, and the main event's gonna be Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk.
Okay. Like $89.99. Hey, Calix.
Higher stick.
Talk to us about your card, brother. What's up?
All right. So how we're gonna start this thing off is Edwards versus Edwards, Logan versus Jake, Bam versus Josh, Mel versus Maul. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, shit.
It's just a joke. No, how I would do my card is I gotta have Canelo on it. The big card, I gotta have Canelo. So let me start off the card with Inoue versus Fulton Jr. Then we'll do Better Be It versus Bivol, because to me that's one of the best three pure fights could be made in the sport, and they need to be fighting each other. And they should have fought each other several times over by now. It's a disgrace that they haven't. All Russian showdown. Then we'll put Bud versus Errol underneath. We'll throw Benavidez as a bone. Canelo's got to be on the main event, being the big card. Canelo versus Benavidez, and we'll do that. That'll be the card.
What about TF versus Usyk?
No, we keeping Tyson Fury off my card.
So that's gonna lose a little bit, like $69.99. I think.
Alex, I love
The
that
chat
card.
should let us know how much
that
would you
card.
pay for each card, right? I want to know what the chat thinks. Like, tell us how much would you pay for each
That's
one of these cards.
$29.99, man, without TF on it.
So look, obviously, me personally, I mean, I would have it at the Garden. That's number one, Madison Square Garden. I know stadium's a thing, but I'm gonna have it at the Garden. All right? Boxing Mania, like just like WrestleMania started, it's gonna be at the Garden. I'm gonna have Michael Buffer and Jimmy Lennon. Like they're each gonna announce. Buffer announces the A-side fighters, Lennon the B-side fighters, right? So you're going to have somebody announcing you no matter what, or red corner, blue corner, however you want to say it, okay? That's what we're going to do, all right? A lot of the women boxers are not going to be on my card, but they're more than welcome to be the ring card girls. You know what I mean? Like they're more than welcome.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Now we all
misogynist.
No, I'm joking. So the opening bout. Okay, what we're gonna do in the opening bout, okay, we're gonna bring Holly Holm from the UFC to box. Okay, Katie Taylor. That's gonna be the opening bout. I want to see that fight. That's gonna be the opening bout. Holly Holm versus Katie Taylor to warm up the crowd. Okay, all right, just saying. Okay, and then we're gonna do Canelo versus Benavidez. All right, we're gonna have that right in the middle of the card. All right, we're gonna do AJ versus Wilder in a grudge match. We're gonna do that for sure. All right, and then we're gonna do Bam versus Edwards. Okay, just because we can't drain the crowd. We need a little buffer in between. Okay, now, in no particular order, obviously. Now the main event of the evening, very interesting. Okay, you got to put the heavyweight champion of the world.
Fact.
You got to put Tyson Fury. You got to put Usyk for undisputed. For all the marbles, we got to do it. You know what I mean? There is no greater prize
150
in boxing. We got to put that there. And then if Tank still wants to carry his purse, he could be a ring card girl if he wants. You know what I mean?
You kept off the three best pure fights that can be made in boxing off your card. Inoue, Fulton Jr., Bud versus Errol, Better Be It versus Bivol.
How much would you pay for my card, though? How much would you pay?
I'd still pay. I'd pay $79.90. I'd pay $85 for all your cards.
$100 for every single card.
Man, I'll pay for anything, but
I pay $1.75.
I'll work for it for free.
I pay $1.75 for it.
Yo, listen to me. The two announcers, the way that you have it, I've like just been sitting here like, why don't they just do that in wrestling, MMA, or something? Like that would be awesome. That's a good idea.
They did it for Pacquiao Mayweather.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Thank you. You're right.
We gotta bring
and
back.
it felt like, you know.
I think Lewis Tyson, they did it too, I believe.
Listen, we got to bring back Jim Lampley. He's got to be crying. He's got to cry at some point, like he always does. We got to bring back Lampley.
It helps with the drama, you know what I mean? Like
Jim Lampley's like good old JR. We need Jim Lampley in there.
Jimmy Lennon's the best when he goes, "Here we go."
That was a good impression.
It's showtime.
That was actually a
now. I will say this though: if it wasn't for undisputed heavyweight, I would have Canelo in a Bridgerweight championship match, right, against some random dude, right, that he could beat. And then just think of the fireworks going off at the end of the match, and he's holding Bridger Walker over his shoulder and hoisting the Bridgerweight title, and then with what a night, boxing mania!
Is Bruce Buffer the best in combat sports though? think
Bruce, no.
I can't
I
stand
love Bruce
him.
Buffer.
Bruce ain't even the
love
best
him.
buffer.
Here we go.
Go ahead, Kyler. What were you gonna say?
I hate Bruce Buffer, man.
How do you use a kid? I still can't get over it. Getting eaten by a dog to create a new division. Why
are you attacking children now? Like in the middle of the show?
I'm just saying that's what they did. They used.
You're attacking a kid that's
They're using him as a prop. They're using
They
him as a
used a
prop.
kid getting attacked by a pit bull as an
The kid
angle to
saved
create a
his
division.
sister's life from a rabid dog. Like, I support the kid.
Hey,
I
who
support
had the
original
best card? Who had the best card?
Probably
Wilder and Ngannou, tag team championship.
I like the card though. That tag team is interesting. I know people when
I gotta admit,
have you seen the
even
tag
as
team?
a-
Have you
look,
watched it?
I like tag team.
I
boxing.
hated it, but I think DeFranco and Rodriguez, along with the Edwards brothers, would be a badass fight.
I don't like the tag team. I'm sorry. No
It was
offense.
ridiculous. I agree with you, Beeb. I'm just playing the game here, and I think that would sell tickets.
Oh man, that would be crazy though.
I'd rather watch-
the brothers
I'd rather
tag
watch-
teaming. I'm for that. You know what I mean?
I'd rather watch two people beat each other up with Nerf jousts.
Yeah. Well, anybody listening, let us know who had the best card. Right, put in the comments and all that, and how much would you pay for each card? Okay. With that said, this is Dista. I want to thank Calix, the Spit Bucket guys. Subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. It's the Spit Bucket Boxing Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe. Cheryl Beebs, subscribe to Inside Reporter. And of course, Mauricio Lara from the Infighting Podcast. Make sure you subscribe. And of course, Calix 2.0. This is Dista Boxing. Keep it boxing. We're out of here, guys. Peace.
Have a good night, brother.
See you later.